back again here, this time at the beginning of the Advent season. You know, Advent season is a beautiful season. It's called a season of waiting. Waiting. The people who are waiting, they know, perhaps I'm waiting for someone to come, someone to arrive. A mother is waiting for the birth of her child. Perhaps the couples are waiting in order to enjoy their fruits of marriage. And the families are also waiting to see their children grow up, get good jobs, and settle in life. So therefore, the season of Advent can be called a season of waiting. We have the beautiful readings today, which express to us what it means to be waiting. The first reading is taken from Isaiah chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. And you see there the vision of Amos, and he is remembering Judah and Jerusalem in a very special way. And what I like of this reading is that in this period of waiting, we can do many good things. Many good things. We can even organize our life, put order into our day-to-day activities, and surely tame down a little of our passion, of our struggles, of our hatred, of our anger. This is what we can do in the time of Advent. In fact, there is a beautiful expression here in the reading of Isaiah, which says the pruning hooks, rather the swords, can be shaped into plows. You know, a sword, it's always used to harm others, to kill others. But this reading says perhaps in this Advent season, the swords in our life, there are so many swords in our life. I'm waiting to take revenge on somebody. I'm waiting to teach someone a lesson. But then the reading says, go slow. God has given you a little more time. So therefore, let your swords be turned into plowshares. The plows, you know, it's useful in order to grow, in order to plow the land. And this is how you can make use of a thing that is harmful for a good thing, a good purpose in your life. Nations will not lift swords against each other. This is the prayer of the first reading. The second reading, St. Paul speaks once again the same theme. He says, the time has come, you have to be awake. The time to sleep is over. You have to get up. You have to be awake. You know, this beautiful example of a robber. If you knew that a robber was around and maybe that you may be robbed, how alert you would be. Every little noise will make you get up. Maybe the robber is close by. So also, in the Advent season, which speaks about life, God inspires us to say that maybe we have to be watchful, we have to be awake against what is called the robber who robs our soul. Who robs our soul. So there's the death. Death is lurking. We cannot say when it will come. We cannot say that it will come in my old age, but perhaps it may be earlier also. So therefore we have to be constantly awake and get up. Give up the things you wish to do under darkness. You know, many of us try to do things under darkness. But this reading tells us, give up those double standard things. May darkness be away from you. Do the things of light. The Gospel also speaks the same theme, as it were. Gospel of Matthew chapter 24, verse 37 to 44, which says, stay awake, because you do not know the day your master may come. You know, the beautiful parable that a master goes for a long trip, as it were, and he leaves his servants fully in charge, trusting them. But if the servants take advantage and say the master may come, may not come, who knows when he'll come, they will suffer. Because when the master comes, if they are not ready, if they are not guarding, if they are not looking after the things, he will surely take action against them. And the example of Noah is explained, that God sent this big rain, as it were, during the time of Noah, and no one was expecting it, and perhaps expecting it to be so severe that they would all be drowned, and only Noah and his ark was saved. So also, my dear friends, the readings of the Advent season, not only this Sunday but every Sunday, prepare us for life. Prepare us not just for small things, but prepare us for life. You know, we have that beautiful tradition in some of our churches to light the 4 candles. And every candle has a meaning: faith, hope, charity. This is the meaning that we assign to each of these candles. And the candle and the candlelight is always a sign and symbol of waiting. I wish you a good Advent season. I now take you to what's called the Holy Father's intention for the month of December. Pope Leo has taken over 3-4 months now, and Pope Leo once again is following the same tradition of taking an intention for the month. And maybe this particular intention has been well thought of by the Holy Father, Pope Leo, in order to arouse us, arouse our consciences, especially because this speaks about the Middle East. You know, the Middle East is a place where we have 3 religions: the Christianity, the Jewish, and the Muslims, the biggest religions. It's as good as the hub of the religions as such. But there is no peace. There is no peace. And very especially for us Christians and the Jews, perhaps there is more tension, as it were. And we believe that Christ was born in Bethlehem. And in this country, if there is no peace, perhaps what will we celebrate? And so the intention for this month is to pray very especially for the Christians living in areas of war or conflict, especially in the Middle East, might be seeds of peace, reconciliation, and hope. These 3 words are very important. First of all, peace. The Jews call it shalom. And everyone longs for peace. You know, this last year when this problem of Hamas and the Jews, the Palestinians arose, there was a lot of tension among the people. Not only that, people could not visit freely the Holy Land as such. That was also a mortification for many people. It was also systematically avoiding the places of the Christians, the places of the Jews. So therefore, now it's a little more peaceful, but then we pray for a lasting peace. Secondly, reconciliation. Knowing that there are a lot of problems between the Jews, between the Muslims, between the Christians. And what we need is reconciliation today. And thirdly, hope. This is the year of hope. And therefore, we pray for hope in these places. Our third topic would be something that we are doing in our Archdiocese, or something memorable in our diocese. You have all heard of migrants. The migrants are everywhere. And someone said that Bangalore is having the heaviest load of the migrants who are coming in. Many of them are coming with a lot of dreams and hopes. For them, coming to Bangalore is like going to Kuwait or the Gulf. They expect to earn a lot of money. And it is true. In their own place, perhaps they would get wages of 50 rupees. But in Bangalore, it starts from 500. So meaning to say that 10 times more we get money here. But then how much sacrifice they would have to do. They have to leave their houses, their homes, their parents, their siblings, and come to Bangalore. Many of them are disappointed because Bangalore is not what they thought to be, perhaps at least in the beginning. So therefore, our Archdiocese thought of starting what's called a migrant center. And we named this migrant center after Pope Francis. You know why Pope Francis? Because this Pope his heart was for the migrants, for the pilgrims, for those that had no hope. So therefore, the ones who are helping us, supporting us also were a little keen on saying that let this center be named after Pope Francis. And fortunately, even the non-Christians know who is Pope Francis, what he has done to the world. His funeral ceremony was attended by hundreds of statesmen, the world leaders, and everywhere in the news his name was there. And therefore he is not only a Christian Pope, but he is a Pope of the world. And therefore perhaps it's appropriate to have this center named after Pope Francis, and this will be inaugurated on 3rd of December. 3rd of December, is the feast of St. Francis Xavier, our own patron. So on this day we will be inaugurating it, and to inaugurate it there will be a cardinal from Rome who is coming very specially for that. His name is Cardinal Silvano Tomasi. Of course, he is a retired cardinal who was in charge of the dicastery, very specially known for charity, for caritas we call it. And in that sense, it is appropriate that he does it and he opens this center for us. It has been supported by migrants themselves. You'll be surprised to see. We will be given the charge of this center to what we call the Scalabrian missionaries. The Scalabrian missionaries, they are entering our diocese first time. They are worldwide known to take care of the pilgrims, to take care of the migrants. So therefore, they have willingly taken up this responsibility, and we will be handing over this house to them after the inauguration, and they will be running it, they will be maintaining it, and surely they will be welcoming the migrants who come here. And so this particular function will take place on 3rd, as I said, at 10 o'clock, and I welcome all of you for this program so that we extend our welcome, our sort of generosity, our hospitality to the migrants that come to Bangalore. The next point that we are going to take is what we call the stalwart missionary of our Archdiocese, St. Francis Xavier. We are proud to have St. Francis Xavier as our missionary, patron of the missions, and very specially patron of our Archdiocese. 3rd of December. Of course, most of the crowd, not from Bangalore, but from the other places, go to Goa, because his body, his body, which is not corrupted from last 500 years, is kept in the casket there in the Bon Jesus Church, and most of the people go there. But we in Bangalore, we celebrate this particular feast of St. Francis Xavier. To speak of St. Francis Xavier, he was born on 7th of April 1506 in Javier, Spain. So in this particular place of Spain that he was born, and not only that, he died at a very young age of 46 years only. I'm saying only because what he has done in 46 years, perhaps none of us could ever dream of doing it. When he came to India, they say he must have traveled on foot more than 10,000 miles. Besides, he went to Japan, he went to the other places. So hundreds of miles or kilometers he has traveled as a missionary. He came to Goa. Perhaps he learned the language, because without the language it's very difficult to live. And then he went to Kerala, he went to Chennai, Madras, And in the end, he was longing to go to what we call Japan, and through some failures, he went to Japan, and also he was longing to go to China. Unfortunately, he did not succeed to go to China, but we are told that he died watching the shores of China. How much must have longed to go to China in order to baptize, in order to convert those people. And so we always say that there are three things we can learn from St. Francis. The first thing is his zeal for the gospel. As St. Paul would say, for me not to preach the gospel is abomination, a curse on me. That's what St. Francis would say also. Day in and day out. They say that when he was in Goa, he hardly slept. His house or his hut was always surrounded by people wanting him to say something to them about God. And they were so receptive that he was so happy to preach to them. So also he went to the other places. Perhaps he learned those languages also. Perhaps he must have been gifted in languages. And so his zeal for word. Secondly, he was a tireless soldier. It's not only the word of God that he preached, but his own physical abilities carried him to that extent that he was what we call a soldier that never said no. We remember his past when he was in a place called France, Paris, and he was studying along with St. Ignatius of Loyola. And Ignatius of Loyola, looking at him, perhaps smiled because he was mad after studies. He wanted to be a big man. And he told Francis, what does it profit if you gain the whole world but lose your soul? So therefore he was a valiant young man. And thirdly, he was a man who believed in the capacity of the people. They say that, of course, he taught them, but then he knew that he could not remain forever in one place. So therefore he put the catechists in charge. And he told the catechists, this is how you have to teach them. And when I go out, when I go far away, you have to take charge of them. And he had such faith and hope in his catechists that surely they did a good job. So my dear brothers and sisters, we are lucky to celebrate the feast of this our patron saint, St. Francis Xavier. And this year, once again, we'll celebrate the feast with grand pomp. As I said, in the morning, we'll be having the inauguration of the Migrant Center. And in the evening, around 5 o'clock, we will be having the festive Mass in honor of St. Francis Xavier. And we will surely celebrate it with joy and with pomp. I welcome all of you for this day. Keep the 3rd of December as a day dedicated to St. Francis Xavier. Finally, I come to what we call the jewels of the Archdiocese. And we have been taking the different churches, different missions, sometimes interior ones, as the jewels of our Archdiocese. Our jewels, of course, they shine. But all of them may not be obvious. A jewel that is in a corner, that is perhaps hidden somewhere, doesn't stop being a jewel because it's not seen. All the more reason for us to bring it out and bring it to the attention of the people. So therefore the jewel for this week, which I am taking, is Our Lady of the Sacred Heart at Haraluru, or we call it Bellanduru. The image of the Immaculate with outstretched hands, signifying the river of graces that reaches through her. She looks downward towards Jesus and also towards her children, the faithful, as a welcoming gesture towards her Son, whom she presents to us. And in front of this image, there is another, the one of Christ's child, pointing with his left hand to his own heart and with his right to his mother, as if saying, "Through my mother, the treasures of my heart will be poured out." The child at the approximate age of 12 seems to be saying, "If you want the graces of which my heart is the source, come to my mother. She has the key, has treasure, and can distribute the treasures that it contains as she pleases." A beautiful reflection on Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. That Mother Mary points to the Sacred Heart of Jesus as the symbol of love, as an expression of our affection to Jesus in our life. And so this parish, the parish of the Our Lady of the Sacred Heart, takes its root, as it were, goes back to 1996, when Father Malcolm Pfeiffer, MSc, and his council completed the seminary at Bangalore Gate and named it Chevalier Bhavan. The official opening took place on 8th December 1996 with Reverend Father Michael Curran, the Superior General, presiding over the Eucharist and blessing the new seminary. The main building, including the large chapel for about 60 seminarians that was built, was inaugurated, and to everyone's surprise, the first neighbors began attending Mass there, drawn by the beauty of the chapel dedicated to Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. Soon word spread, and people from nearby areas, that is Agrara, Bangalore, and beyond, joined in appreciating both the closeness and the ample parking that was there. As the attendance grew, the then Archbishop of Bangalore, Reverend Dr. Ignatius Pinto, encouraged the missionaries of the Sacred Heart to establish a parish. On 6th June 2000, the first parish of the Archdiocese of Bangalore was formally erected within the scholasticate premises. The parish flourished rapidly, and the small church could no longer accommodate the faithful. In 2006, during the visit of Reverend Father Mark MacDonald, MSc, Superior General, the parish council envisioned building a larger parish church, also to serve as a future shrine of Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. With land costs in the area very prohibitive, it was decided to build on the scholasticate property. On 31st of May 2008, Archbishop Reverend Dr. Bernard Morris blessed the site, and the construction began in 2009 under Father Jose Rajesh, MSc, and his council. However, the funding challenges and plan changes delayed the work, even halting it for several years. A fresh beginning came with Father Charles Babu, MSc, and his council, who rekindled enthusiasm, strengthened parish unity, and mobilized the resources. Through their perseverance and the generosity of the people, the parishioners, construction was finally completed, and on 2nd March 2014, Archbishop Reverend Dr. Bernard Morris blessed and consecrated the new Our Lady of the Sacred Heart Church. Today the church stands as a testimony of faith and resilience and the enduring devotion to Our Lady of the Sacred Heart. As I said, we are proud to accept this church as a jewel, a beautiful church, a beautiful community with so many people and so many activities. They also have visited quite often this church, and it's beautiful to see how the associations, the Vincent de Paul, the Women's Association, the Youth Association, and all are together. The catechism is conducted well, and the teachers are taking a lot of interest in teaching catechism to the children. And I'm sure this church will grow into a beautiful edifice to God in the name of the Sacred Heart Church dedicated to Mother Mary.